To the 30 people who watched the base tour, I'm back and now have a new mic to record a quick video with voice to show the last bit of progression I have left. Since the base tour, I have played 20 hours and got the creative EU generator, another creative fluid tank for the creative gas tank, which I also now have. The last couple of hours will be spent on this, the creative vending upgrade, which allows you to duplicate any item you put into it infinitely, including itself, and luckily for us, it makes 2 in the crafting recipe. To break down the last recipe, most of this stuff is pretty easy or already done, like the creative items in the middle and the ultimate catalysts at the edges. The 4 chaotic cores would be pretty problematic if I hadn't been working on them for the past 10 hours of the playthrough. That leaves the storage cells, which are probably just a couple auto-crafting recipes away, the creative essence, which I've been preparing for since I got the creative fluid tank, and finally, the infinity ingots and the tier 6 solar array controllers. Those last 2 are the hardest part of Enigmatica 2 Expert and the main subject right now. Let's start with the easier part, which I already mostly did the work for, the solar controller, which I've crafted all the way up to here, only missing the blocks of crystal time, the awakened draconic cores, and most importantly, the 4 singularities for these materials. We don't have to worry about getting them, however, because all 4 materials can be melted and duplicated in the creative fluid tank. The difficult part is turning the molten metals into singularities at a fast enough rate that I'm not just playing GregTech New Horizons. And that meant building a massive wall of 20 ingot formers with enchanted fluid tanks to constantly fill the ingot formers with molten metal, which then output into storage, and then these quantum compressors import those materials to be turned into singularities. Each material needs to be turned into at least 2 singularities for the ultimate singularity, back to that later. But a lot of them are used in this abomination of a crafting recipe for the infinity catalyst, which we need 11 of, bumping the singularity count to 13. For the Magnolan and Mithril singularities we only need 4, but for the diamond and gold singularities we need 14, which is why we have this contraption for making so many singularities at once. In about an hour broken up by making the chaos cores previously mentioned, I finally made enough singularities for the chaotic cores, as well as getting enough iron, coal, copper, fluix, titanium, and aluminum singularities for the rest of the game. As of the end of this recording session, this is as far as I've gone for the tier 6 solar array controller. But we're not done yet. The other insanely difficult part I mentioned is the infinity ingot, and I have almost no visible progress on this. I only have to make 1 because it can be melted and duplicated, but the recipe looks like this. 24 neutronium ingots surrounding a core of 11 infinity catalysts, 2 ultimate singularities, and 8 crystal matrix ingots. In the end, the neutronium and crystal matrix ingots are child's play compared to the ultimate singularities and infinity catalysts. My ingot duping setup is mostly fine for the ultimate singularities since I only need 2, but the infinity catalyst, like I mentioned earlier, makes it so that we need 14 of each singularity, so a lot of this is waiting. The rest of the recipe probably isn't that bad. The benitoite and anglesite we have, neutronium and crystal matrix is child's play like I said. All of these can just be auto-crafted, and the rest is just 30 minutes of crafting in total. In the end, it all comes down to getting the singularities, and most of that is just waiting, but there are 3 singularities that are especially difficult to get, which are the emerald singularity, the diamond singularity, and the redstone singularity. I made a factory that abuses the fact that cryotheum can be turned into 10 redstone with destabilized redstone, which can be duplicated, so in this little unit I can automate cryotheum and make 10 redstone per second. The diamonds and emeralds, however, can be melted, but each crystal is 666 millibuckets, as opposed to the 144 millibuckets of normal ingots. So my impatient little GregTech brain decided to go to an alternate dimension made of diamonds to get the singularities, because that worked so well with flux crystals. So I made a diamond dimension, and its power cost was 10 million RF per tick, which wasn't a problem for my creative capacitor bank, and it was full on power, so I went in. And instantly died.